Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're stepping away from theory and getting our hands dirty, figuratively speaking. We're tackling a real logistical challenge.
That's right. We're looking at how you manage hardware for a serious Tamiya RC collection. We're talking, what, 13 different models?
13, yeah. And they span like the whole history, vintage, 80s kits, grasshoppers, up to modern stuff like the TT02. So quite a range.
It really is. And the goal isn't just, buying screws when you need them. It's about shifting to a proper, proactive stock system.
Getting organized, like a professional setup.
Exactly. Using a specialist supplier, maybe someone like Team K&K. Because the thing is, the strategy for, say, a Hornet is totally different from a Super Hotshot or that TT02. You can just bulk buy everything.
Right. So this sounds complex. How do you even begin to structure a plan for that kind of diversity without it becoming a massive headache or costing a fortune?
Well, we found it boils down to a kind of a three-tiered approach. That seemed the most logical way to handle it.
3 tiers. Okay. What's tier 1?
Tier 1 is what we're calling foundational vehicle-specific kits. Think of the complete hardware kits you can buy for certain chassis. The Hornet, the Frog, the Hotshot, the CC012.
So dedicated kits for specific cars.
Yes. And the key here is you keep these intact, sealed. They're your insurance policy for a full, proper restoration down the line.
Ah, okay. So you don't touch them for everyday stuff. But what about the cars that don't have these fancy kits? You mentioned the TT02, TA02S.
Exactly. That's why you need the next tiers. Tier 1 doesn't cover everything.
Which brings us to tier 2, I guess. If tier 1 is locked away, how do you handle like a snapped screw during a regular run?
That's precisely tier 2, bulk general stock. This is your day-to-day inventory. The prime example is something like the Monster Bag stainless hardware kit from K&K. It's got like 700 pieces.
Wow, 700 pieces. That's a lot of screws.
It is. And that's the point. This is what you dip into for repairs, for building those kits that don't have a dedicated tier 1 option, general maintenance.
Okay, that makes sense. Reserve stock, working stock. But then why tier 3? If you've got 700 pieces in bulk, surely that covers everything.
Almost everything. Tier 3 is for the specialized high turnover spares. These are the fiddly bits, things you lose constantly, or things that wear out or should be single use.
Okay, like what specifically? Give me an example.
2 big ones jump out, M4 nylock nuts. They go on every wheel axle.
Oh, right.
And for safety, they really should be single use. You tighten them, the nylon insert locks. You shouldn't reuse them, so you need a good supply.
Right, okay. Safety item, makes sense. What's the second?
N3 by 3 millimeter grub screws. The tiny little things that hold pinion gears onto motor shafts.
Oh, those. Yeah, they're tiny, easy to drop.
And easy to strip the hex head on. So having a separate bag, like a decent quantity of just those, is essential. Saves a lot of frustration.
Definitely. Now, speaking of stripping screws, that brings up a really crucial point with these older kits, doesn't it? The whole hardware modernization thing. What's the trap people fall into with the original screws?
The big one, especially with 80s Tamiya, is the screws weren't Phillips head. Not really. They were JIS, Japanese Industrial Standard.
JIS. How is that different?
The angle of the crosshead is slightly different. If you use a regular Phillips screwdriver, especially one that's a bit worn, it doesn't quite seat properly. It's much, much easier to cam out and strip the head.
And if that screw is buried deep in some vintage plastic piece...
You've got a major problem. You risk damaging irreplaceable parts trying to get it out. It is why upgrading is so important.
So moving to modern hex socket screws isn't just for looks or convenience, it's actually protecting the kit.
Absolutely. Good quality stainless steel hex screws give you much better torque, much less risk of stripping. It's a fundamental upgrade for actually working on these things without wrecking them.
Okay. And what about when the damage is already done? Say, a hole in the plastic is already a bit stripped from the old self-tapping screws being in and out over the years.
Yeah, that happens. A good trick is to use a slightly longer or sometimes slightly thicker machine thread screw as a replacement. It basically bypasses the damaged threads and cuts new ones further in or slightly wider. Often works like a charm.
Neat trick. Okay, so we have the strategy. Tier 1 sealed kits, Tier 2 bulk stock, Tier 3 specific spares, and upgrade everything to hex. But how do you keep track of it all?
Organization is everything. The Tier 1 kits stay in their bags, obviously. But Tier 2 and Tier 3, the bulk stuff, the spares, they have to be sorted. Get a good multi-drawer component cabinet. Label everything clearly.
Otherwise, it's just an expensive, messy pile of metal bits.
Precisely. All that planning is wasted if you can't find the M3 by 10 millimeter screw you need.
Right. Makes perfect sense. So the real takeaway here is that the hardware investment is only half the battle. The organization makes it work. And this leads to a final thought, doesn't it, about tools?
It absolutely does. If you're upgrading all your hardware to hex, you need the right drivers. Don't try and use cheap Allen keys.
Right. You need proper precision hex drivers. What sizes are key?
For Tamiya, mostly 1.5 millimeters, 2.0 millimeters, and 2.5 millimeters. And you'll also need good metric nut drivers, 5.5 millimeter for M3 nuts and 7.0 millimeter for those M4 wheel nuts we mentioned.
So here's the final thought for you listening. You've invested in the best hardware to make maintenance easier and safer for your collection. Why would you then skimp on the tools and risk stripping those brand new screws? Upgrade the whole workflow.
Couldn't agree more. The right tools make all the difference.